What a week.
As the actress said to the bishop.
What a week. What a week whole. No. It's been rather remarkable.
Is it shallow as well?
Very shallow vagine.
I used to know a girl called,
God,
her name
John.
was Regina. We used to call her Vagina.
Yeah,
It wasn't very subtle.
of course. How old were you?
27.
Okay, I was expecting like 12.
It's a while ago. Anyway, go on. What were you saying? What a week. Yes, what a week.
27.
What a fucking
That's
week.
older than me. That's older than me, 27. God, little baby over here. We've had a great week, guys. I posted in the new membership site this morning about how proud I am of the team specifically. It's been one of the smoothest weeks of business we've had in a long time, off the back of what would usually be in most businesses a particularly turbulent time. We essentially reassessed everyone's job roles, responsibilities, yada, 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 all of that boring crap, redoing job descriptions and setting up one-to-ones, all of that fun jazz. But this week has been fucking remarkable. I left a comment this morning in the new membership site, as I've already mentioned, just how proud I am of us. We've got Tamsin on board now, and she's taken so much shit off my plate and Holly's plates in particular, and she's done it with next to no hand-holding, and she's taken the initiative on pretty much everything she's been given. No million and one questions, just you've given me this, I'm going to figure it out, and if I can't, and only then will I ask a question if I get really stuck. And I think that's happened once. So onboarding a new hire, seamless. Holly has then ran away with that newfound time and has had a ridiculously productive week on shit that actually matters when it comes to the operations and maintenance side of things. And then my chief salesman over here corrected me on my maths this morning, as every good salesman does. You can't get a salesman's numbers wrong. It's how they value themselves. Johnny Boy has closed at least minimum 67Ks worth of deals. So very proud of my team.
73. Could be 73.
Could be. But either way, from an operations standpoint, hiring standpoint, from a big transitional change in terms of moving all our clients to a new site, new job roles, new responsibilities, and sales, fantastic week. And the book isn't even out yet.
No.
God.
And to icing on the cake, I got a present from someone that we've taken from, basically, with more than 10 times his prices. He sent me a Morpheus chest band for my workouts. But the best thing of all, he sent me a sew-on patch for my hat. I'm a ray of fucking sunshine. And this is going to go on my black hat, which is at the moment drying because we got soaked on the dog walk this morning. But yeah, it's been a pretty good week, to be fair. Hey?
How did you get soaked?
It rained.
How did you get soaked?
It rained. It rained. Non-stop.
It only rain in Ireland when it's currently fucking 28 degrees over here.
It pissed it down for the whole walk.
Oh, the Emerald Isles. For the whole walk. Brilliant. Fantastic. So it didn't need washing. It was cleansed by the rain.
It was cleansed by the rain. So it's been a pretty good week.
But you washed it anyway.
Part of this is because we work within the constraints, which is not the topic of today's podcast, but it's worth mentioning because we've talked about it in previous episodes.
Yes, we love a good constraints, don't we?
We do. And restraints.
What we specifically did is restrain our spheres of influence, our spheres of work. We gave everyone very clear steps, very clear outcomes that we expected of them, and very clear responsibilities to get us to those outcomes. So I looked at Johnny Boy's sphere and was like, right, this needs to be smaller so you can focus on fewer things and make a smaller number of high-quality decisions, which he's done. Sent him away, and he's come back with a nice 67K bone. Same with Holly. Same with Tamsin. Me, I've just had my feet up all week just going, isn't this wonderful?
Yeah. You've had your feet up all week getting the simplest of fucking mathematical calculations wrong.
You coming from you, yeah?
Oh,
You got it wrong and all.
I was talking and I didn't get it wrong. I just didn't come to a conclusion. You had all the time in the world to get it right, and you still got it wrong.
You don't even know for a fact that you got it wrong. You've just come up with this story that I got it wrong. But when I said it at the time, you took it as gospel. And we're going to have to watch the recording back. Have you? Have you watched it back?
Gospel.
Shut up. Have you watched the recording back?
Recording.
Recording.
Recording. I don't watch recordings. I've got better things to do than sit there like a fucking narcissist watching myself on fucking camera.
Yeah, you're more than willing to spend the time to sit here and argue with me about something that you can't remember correctly because your T levels are through the roof and you're old.
T levels. Yeah, back on the testosterone.
I didn't know that. You didn't mention it.
Yes, I did. Didn't I? Yes, I did. Didn't I?
Anyway, John's an idiot who can't do math. It's a problem for a self-proclaimed genius, but here we are. Should we get on to today's episode?
I think we better before you embarrass yourself further. Yeah.
Further?
Further.
Look, John, I'm really proud of you. You tried your best on that sales call. Not the sales call, in the community call. You're a star in my eyes. It doesn't matter that you got it wrong. You're still a star in my eyes. To me, you were the best person on that call. It doesn't matter that you got it wrong. Doesn't matter.
It wouldn't matter if I had.
We're talking about why EBG is always wrong. I mean, the majority is always wrong. And there's three things that we want to cover today. We're going to be talking about the only marketing strategy that you ever need, the deadly mistake business owners are making and what to do about it, and then finally, to wrap up, how to sell anything with this weird trick. So we're going to be covering a little bit of marketing, a little bit of pricing and positioning, and a little bit of sales/selling. Thank you, Holly, for those wonderful notes. So, John, what is the only marketing strategy you're ever going to need?
I don't think I want to talk to you today. Well, the only marketing strategy you're ever going to need. Okay. The best definition of marketing I've ever heard came from Dan Kennedy, and I heard it probably, 20 odd years ago. And it's basically 16 words. And it's the right message to the right person at the right time and over the right medium. It's that simple. And seriously, if every business owner under the sun went away and carved those words into their forehead in letters of fire and lived, breathed, and fucking slept and shat those 4 words, that's all they would need to do. Now, specifically how they do all of that stuff is moot because different businesses, different approaches. But if they actually did that, they would outstrip their competitors within weeks. And the great thing about it is you can take all 4 of those components and treat them individually. And for instance, the easiest one is the right time. Well, the right time is always now. You should always be marketing. I was speaking to a guy the day he's coming on board with us. He's one of the sales I made last week. And he was saying the only time they market themselves is when they're not busy. That's the very worst time to sit there and think, we need to do some marketing right now. I mean, you're right, you do. You're far better, though, marketing yourself all the time, and especially when you're busy. Because when you're busy, you've got the money to do it, and you're in the right frame of mind as well, because it doesn't matter if you say to someone, yeah, we can do this, but it's going to be at least 3 months down the line, and it's going to cost you this much. If they say no, it doesn't matter. You got 3 months money still of the work you've got in the pipeline. Where if you're actually not busy and you don't have any clients and you've got one person trying for a discount, it matters a great deal then that you don't do the work. But people are too fucking stupid to do this. So that's the easiest marketing strategy.
The amount of times. Sorry, mate. I just want to say, just as a word of warning, to anyone that has got their lead generation campaigns working and those leads are directly, you can measure it, they're converting to sales. The amount of times I see business owners turning those off and they say, well, it was working a bit too well. Word of warning, never do that. Never, just put your prices up, or scale the business on the operation side of things. Do something to manage that demand. Do something, anything other than, oh, I'm going to turn off the one thing that's feeding my business. Because when you turn it off, turning it back on can be pretty fucking difficult sometimes. I've seen, for example, digital campaigns, so Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn ads working gangbusters. Printing money machines. They go, too busy. They turn it off. They turn it back on. Then they get into contact with me saying, hey, I turned on this campaign. It used to work really well and it's not working anymore. And it's like, well, you shouldn't have turned it off in the fucking first place, you idiot. These machines, and especially social media companies, their algorithms are odd. So if you've got something that's working, don't bloody stop. And just as I stop, EBG walks off. So you've got to listen to me for a little bit longer. Oh, and he's back again. But yeah, honestly, guys, if you've got something that's working, do anything but turn off the campaigns.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, would it be? I mean, I don't know because I'm not an expert, so it's not a rhetorical question. I mean, not in this, I'm not an expert anyway. Would it be reasonable to cut their budget? Would that be reasonable to slow it down?
Depending on the platform. But even then, I think it's best to just leave it be, because eventually it will die on its. It will die a death anyway. Nothing works forever, especially on social media advertising. It will die a death inevitably. I think you're far better off looking at your back end and either putting your prices up or hiring and reorganizing your operations so you can handle the demand.
I think your advice at the beginning was the best. Just put your fucking prices up.
Yeah. Well, that's the easiest thing. No need to hire. No need to study your org charts or review your operations documents. Just put your fucking prices up.
But of course, most people are not marketing themselves in this way. I mean, of all the people watching this or listening to this, probably 5 or 10% of them are doing any kind of paid advertising. Most of them are breaking all the rules of that marketing strategy I talked about, the right message, right person, right time, right medium, because they're doing social media marketing. And social media marketing, and I keep hammering this one, and I'm going to keep hammering it home because it's important, and people are still not getting it. And some people are getting it but still doing it, which it defies logic. It's like a smoker who's dying of, being told that he's going to lose. He's lost one leg, he's going to lose the other leg, and he carries on smoking. What are you doing? Social media marketing is this idea that you somehow build a relationship with other people, and that's the excuse they give. Relationship and giving value, and the two go hand in hand. It's absurd. I'm just going to kind of a quick straw poll here. I don't require responses, or you can if you can comment below when you're watching this or listening to it. When you bought your house, or you bought a car, or you go to say Tesco or Waitrose or the supermarket, or you bought your office desk, or the last pair of shoes you bought, okay, or the last baseball cap you bought, or the last computer you bought from the Apple store or wherever. The last thing you bought, and some of these purchases are substantial, I'm talking house, car, computer, etc. Did you have a relationship before and when you bought it? Did you say, I'm not going to buy that Apple Mac until I've got a relationship with the salesperson? No, you didn't. And to say, well, yeah, but I've been watching them from afar, and then trying to kind of shoehorn that into a relationship, that's bullshit. That's just your ego because you can't admit you were wrong. And let me explain why that is not a relationship. Because if that's a relationship, then if I start looking through someone's bathroom window and stalking them and telling people I'm in a relationship with that woman, no, I'm not. I'm a fucking stalker. Or it's like saying you have a relationship with someone in a film. You're like, yeah, I love Bruce Willis. I watch all his films. We've got a relationship. No, you haven't. You're watching him from afar. So someone watching you from afar and then buying your shit does not constitute a relationship. And if you don't believe me, just open this book up, a book of words. It's called a fucking dictionary, right? And it defines a relationship as being between two or more people. If someone's watching you from afar and lurking and they buy your stuff, that is not a relationship. Okay, only social medias will say media marketers will say it is because they want to prove themselves right, and they're not. They're wrong. I mean, it's just as simple as that. They're
What do you
wankers.
even want a relationship for anyway? Hey,
Well, I mean, let's be fair. We started off as you were my client. No, I was your client, so I was paying you. Well, you were kind of my client because you were in Elite and stuff. But we started off as a purely
we
business
were each other's
relationship.
clients.
Yeah, you were the son of one of
Yeah,
my clients, right? Well, now we're kind of
you groomed me.
best mates, brothers, lovers. Yeah, we're best
Only
mates.
after a few
So
whiskies.
often, yeah, a few whiskies and a jar of Vaseline. Um, Clients can often become your friends, but going the other way, making friends before you become clients can be fucking dangerous, and it's certainly not necessary. And let's be very clear about this. No one is saying having a relationship and then closing someone as a client is necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't usually hurt. And if you get into a dialogue and you're friendly, a bit like the guy I spoke to last week who's coming on board, we're probably at classes as friends. Yeah. But that wasn't
Yeah, your
necessary.
buddies.
He'd have still come on board if we hadn't been friends. Yeah. So we're not saying it's bad and it's absolutely ruled out. Of course we're not. But what I'm saying is it is not necessary to have any kind of relationship with a client or a prospect before they will give you a substantial amount of money. And anyone who says different is simply wrong, uninformed, or just lying to you because they want to sell you their fucking hammer to crack your nail.
Picture this. There's a rich, lonely, divorced old man sat in his mansion. He's got big, beautiful, pristine. Go on.
That's
you.
Yeah.
He's got big, beautiful windows, some with stained glass, and it's surrounded by delicate wood. And he sat there thinking, oh my God, this place is filthy since my wife has left me. And there's no way in hell I can clean all of these windows. And even if I did, I wouldn't know what products to use on the stained glass, nor do I know how to adequately protect the rare wood that surrounds my windows. What on earth am I going to do? Like magic, someone knocks on his door and says, hey, I've noticed you've got all of these windows that are looking a bit grubby, the stained glass and this rare wood. I can take care of that for you. Yada, 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 yada. Do you think he's going to either A, say, oh my God, you're an angel from heaven. Yes, please. Whatever you want, just fucking do it. Or two, he'll say, hold your horses, mate. Before I let you clean my windows, we got to go to the pub to discuss the football to see if we get on. Take your pick. Because if you think a relationship is needed to sell, you're going to say option B. When in reality, it's option A. People want to buy things, and this has been lost in marketing. Marketing has become a world of clever tricks and hacks, and they've kind of completely missed the point. People want to buy things. People have problems and pain points they want to solve. If you show someone a solution to their problems and pains, people will happily buy that thing. Marketing has become a world where everything is almost seen as a grudge purchase. So it needs to be marketed as, a hack, or you need a magic trick to trick them into selling. No, people happily buy things.
This is what we're finding for the last 18, 20 years. And they say people don't like to be sold to. That's another fucking load of bollocks. People love to be sold to. They don't like to be sold at. That's damn right. But if you've got a problem and you can get people into a conversation about their pain, they love talking about themselves, and then you've got a solution. Here's the thing: I have a rule on all my sales calls, and let's make no bones about it. That's what they are. On all my sales calls, the part of the promise before we even get on the call is I won't try to sell you anything unless you ask me to. And on every call, that's what they do. I will get them to ask me, and there's no trick. There's no manipulation. I just will out and out ask them, what do you want me to do? And they'll say, I want you to tell me about your solution. Okay, fine, thanks. So if anyone listening to this believes that's unethical, I think you probably need to go and see a therapist or something, really, because you're mentally ill.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from that, about this reluctance to do what they need to do, and this belief that people don't want to sell, don't want to buy, and it's a grudge purchase, and it's a zero-sum game. That's another mistake they make, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big one. That's a really big one.
What that leads to inevitably is two things. The first, in terms of your prices, it inevitably leads to people cutting their prices because they think the price is the most important thing. And the second thing, and again, these two, go on.
Why would you cut your prices?
I wouldn't, but
logically, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you why would you self-inflict such a wound onto what most people call their baby, which is their business?
I think most people don't understand how much damage a price cut does. You know, I'm not going to go through the maths here, but if you go say 35% markup, which is pretty decent, you know, especially in, say, IT sales or something. 35% markup, 10% discount, it takes 40% off your profit. I don't think people understand that. They think that 10% is reflected as a 10% cut in their profit, which might be sustainable, but it's not. It's 4 times that, which is probably not. If you've been, and this is something we hear quite a lot. People will say we've not raised our prices for at least 10 years. That's incredibly common. Well, if you haven't raised your prices for 10 years in the UK, inflation means your profits have been decimated by about 90, 80 something percent. That's just without everything else going on because of inflation, the compound effect of inflation, you know. So it's quite scary.
Silly billies. It's like people are just almost thinking about, they're almost asking the wrong question. You know, they're asking, how do I get more business? Not how do I make more money?
Yeah.
And they think, well, more business automatically equals more money. It's silly. It's like wanting your child to go to sleep and then giving them half a litre of whiskey. It'll put them to sleep all right, but not quite in the way that you'd expect.
I'm not quite sure where you got the analogy from, but it's a funny one.
I was just thinking, I don't know where it came from. Probably some childhood trauma. I've always wondered why I've had a taste for whiskey. Trauma. Childhood.
Childhood. Yeah, product prices. But of course, this is all fed into because people are, they're almost marketing by committee, aren't they? Well, it's worse. They're marketing by echo chamber. You know, a very common thing is you'll see, say,
FOMO.
Yeah, you see people posting, say, on LinkedIn, asking, how do I do this? How do I solve this problem? And they'll invite opinions from their fellow, I don't know, freelancers, photographers, whatever they are. And these people they're asking for advice haven't solved the problem themselves. They've got an opinion, but they've got no experience in solving it. And they do this because it's cheaper than paying us. But it ain't. It really isn't.
Yeah, they don't see how expensive ignorance is.
No. I mean, we've had, never mind the sales we've made, but we've had stellar successes with our clients recently, haven't we? We got one yesterday morning. He copied my sales method. Didn't even have to teach it to him. He just looked at it, did a couple of things the same, and made 33K, filled his mastermind. Was it a program, whatever it was, a course? Filled it, and we haven't had to teach him anything yet.
Yeah. Well, it was literally, he had a sales call with you. He then had an hour-long game plan session with myself where we looked at his product line, shuffled it around, looked at his prices, because he was like, I already know I have to put my prices up. He knew the rules. You know, if you want to enter the club, the rule is you have to put your prices up. So he's like, I'm already going to put them up. Just how do I lay it out? We put his products in order. He's gone away and he's put 10 people into his first cohort. That's 33K clean profit.
It's the first step of 3 on the ladder
Clean
as well,
profit.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it is, all he's done is spend an hour with us, really. 2 hours, an hour with you, an hour with me. He's gone away, ran with it. 33K.
It's almost like our shit works, you know?
Almost. And it's almost like asking fewer questions and doing more doing has an impact too.
Can you imagine some of the people we've dealt with over the years doing that? I can't. One in particular.
No.
Can you imagine him doing that?
No. Some people need whips and chains and the promise of torture to actually do something.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, kinky. Yeah, the promise of torture, not the threat.
Kinky, don't knock it, mate, until you've tried it. So, I've actually been going through my. This is a little secret for you. I've been going through my. Well, not for you, but for listeners. I've been going through my LinkedIn account because I'm doing some stuff, and I need to cleanse my list to make things runs a bit smoother. So I've been unfollowing people who are not suitable potential clients for us. So basically, it's here's a good example. Anyone who's, say, in branding, so anyone who says they're a brand consultant or a brand expert, I immediately just unfollow and disconnect, because there's no way they're ever going to be in our world. I wouldn't want them because they're selling bollocks, they're selling bullshit, and they wouldn't like us either. We would be a complete mismatch on both sides. But the interesting thing is, these people come to my attention in my newsfeed because I see they're a first connection, and it's the sheer inanity of what they're posting, which causes me to look and say, who's fucking talking about? Who's saying this nonsense? Oh, it's a brand consultant. Okay, off you go. And it's amusing because it's like watching, I don't know. It's like watching some fat person on an ice rink trying to stand up. It's tragic, but also amusing. You know? It's tragic, but amusing. And they are hopeless. They are forever hopeless and helpless and hapless. But what's worse is what they're selling is going to help their clients not at all. There's one or two people who are doing the right thing, but most of them are just saying, oh, your brand is the most important thing. No, it fucking isn't. But because so many people are saying it, it becomes gospel truth. It's what everybody knows to be true. It's marketing. It's what Dan Kennedy called it, marketing incest. And just like with real incest, after a period of time, everyone starts to look the same, and everyone gets stupider and stupider. But it's true. It's fucking tragic.
6 toes and 4 fingers.
Yeah, one eye in the middle of the fucking forehead. Like Cyclops, you know.
Looking like a Futurama show. Have you ever seen Futurama?
I've not even seen E.T., and that's probably, 35, 40 years old.
You've never seen E.T.?
No interest.
Seen The Simpsons?
No.
Never seen The Simpsons?
No. Yeah, obviously I know what they are. You ever seen Beavis and Butthead?
Family Guy?
I've seen.
Of course, I've seen Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis
what
and
do I
Butthead
look
are
like?
fucking hilarious. You look a bit like Beavis, actually.
They're pretty funny. And you look a bit like Butthead.
That could be. Never mind, good cop, bad cop. It could be Beavis and Butthead sales techniques. Oh, if only the listeners knew what we were talking about. So, it's.
Oh God.
If you could only take away one thing from us today or any other time, please, when you look at social media marketing, the way it's being done, realise that's majority behaviour. And as Earl Nightingale said, the majority is always wrong. And this isn't just one of those pithy fucking self-development phrases that people come out with. The evidence is out there because most people struggle in business. So clearly what the majority of people are doing in business isn't effective in terms of sales and marketing. So if you do the same things they do, you will on balance get the same, within reason, the same kind of results. So if you want to get better results, you've got to do something different. If you don't know what to do different, then either ask someone who's an expert who can tell you what to do different, or at the very least, just do anything. Just do something different. Toss a fucking coin. But just don't do the same as everyone else, please.
That's mathematics. Even EBG can understand. So well done, mate. Proud of you there.
Thanks. You do realise that even before you were born, I got a first-class honours degree in electronic engineering, which is a highly mathematical degree, don't you? And I came top of my year, as
Degree.
you would expect for a genius.
Degree.
The only degree you've got is a degree of stupidity, mate.
I've got a degree from the School of EBG. Look at what it's done to me. It's got me a business partner who wrote the fucking thing and went, "I've sold you a dud." Yeah. At least I've got her.
So have I.
I
just choose to shave it off.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Yeah, see, I've heard that a million times. That's what every bald man ever says.
That's because you keep coming out with the same old stupidity.
Coming from the parrot over here. Building on the social media thing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's just a tactic. It's just a mechanism to spread your message. It's not a thing, as in, it's not a thing in itself. It's not something that deserves the amount of love, time, and attention. All you really need to do, is find some fucking targets, some people with a clear pain point that you can solve their problems, provide a high amount of, that you've got a little bit of leverage over. Perhaps you can do it better than other people can do in that market for whatever competitive reason. You got to make sure you can easily target them, easily put marketing messages in front of them, and they can afford your fees. Once you've found those people, you just market to them. And there's a world outside of social media. You can do direct mail. You can send people knock on their doors. You can do various methods of direct mail, postcards, leaflets, shock and awe boxes. You can pick up the phone and cold call them, or send them a cold email, or find them on social media and actually send them a message there saying, "Hey, I noticed you got this problem."
Well, hang on.
People want to buy shit.
Let's dig into that one for a second, because this is an actual thing which is happening in our business right now. We are talking to a guy who's high up in the UK. He's a VP in the UK in this large multinational firm, $3 billion business. And in our conversations with this guy, we found out that the entire company has got head offices in Denmark. The entire company, from the CEO down, they have no unified sales system or strategy. It's left to the VPs of each individual region in the different countries. That's absurd. So what I'm going to do is what I bet almost no one, I bet even seasoned cold callers don't do this. I'm going to get the CEO's number and I'm going to call him. Now, I'm not going to wear a suit. I'm going to be exactly as I am now. And I'm going to tell him that, obviously using my special methods that won't get his back up, that what he's doing is absurd. I'll be speaking to the CEO of a $3 billion multinational company. Anybody could do this. But you can imagine, right? Imagine I do that to 100 CEOs of 100 multinationals. I've only got to close one. And you could be talking of hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of business, possibly millions. You just don't know. But instead, what people do, they will do the same amount of work, but target much less affluent, much less I'm not looking at prestige, much less affluent clients, less able to pay, less willing to pay. They'll target, say, one-man bands and freelancers, like the mistake we've made in the past. They just don't have the money. They might have the will, but they don't have the wherewithal. A $3 billion business, right, our fees for, say, a countrywide training of 100 people wouldn't even be an accounting rounding error to them. They've just made a £1.1 billion or dollar acquisition. They grow by acquisition. Our fees, no matter how ridiculous they were, wouldn't even be a rounding error to them. But the approach is the same, and in many ways, those kinds of clients are easier to sell to. No,
they want to fix their pain. They want to fix their problem. They've got the money to do so.
And the reason we know, because we've got another client, sometime client, who's in a 42k a year mastermind, and they're doing nearly $1 million a year, and they are the poorest guys in this mastermind. And they just been to a meeting, and they were the poorest guys in the room. And we said, or Connor said to this guy, well, what kind of business problems do these people have? And our mate says they have the same problems everyone else does, from us on up and down, sales. And some of these guys have not even the slightest perception or idea or fucking even a whiff of what they can do, like upfront payments, continuity, high-end masterminds. It's just not on their radar. And so these are the guys, some of these people are doing like 80,000 a day over Stripe, and they've never heard of continuity. It's insane.
But
I can't even articulate.
do you want to know how they got there?
Oh, I do, yes, very
Do you know
much.
how they got there?
Yeah.
They didn't worry about engagement or any of that crap. The reason they make so much money and make so many sales is that's all they focus on. Sales, sales, sales. And only at the point where they're doing £80,000 days that they're looking to really fine-tune their marketing. They've just been sales focused. If you believe that if I get a certain amount of likes, someone will like me and like me enough to buy from me, at some point you're lost. You're broken. And I'd imagine it's down to a fear around selling, because it's scary. Like, you've got to be honest, John. It can be scary for a new salesperson.
I can't relate to that, but I believe it. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I've never had that.
Okay. It was a rhetorical question. I was just looking for backup. It's true.
It is true, but I'm just saying I can't relate to it.
I know, big boy. And then also people don't believe in themselves, especially if it is one-man bands, or if you've got a sales team. The sales team themselves don't believe in what they're selling. So it compounds. One, you're not actually optimizing for sales. You're optimizing for engagement and relationships. Two, you haven't got the bollocks to enter that sales scenario. And when you do, you've got imposter syndrome going on. You don't fully believe in yourself to deliver, or the sales team doesn't believe that the company can deliver what they're selling. So therefore, subconsciously almost, there'll be something holding them back because there's that lack of belief. And then that's where people go, no, I don't focus on sales. Sales is icky. I'll just rely on inbound and I'll take what comes. And then that's how you fall down the trap of letting random leads dictate the direction of your business. Right, I've got to make things for these people that are talking for me, rather than thinking, no, I'm going to make something that is high impact, of high value, is worth a lot of fucking money, and then I'm going to find the people to sell it to. The assertive route. Or most businesses just take the passive route. I'll take what comes, and then I'll make products for the people that come. Wrong.
I'm going to make a prediction here to anyone listening to this. If you're in a business and you have experience of feast and famine, so your sales feel like they're out of your control, and sometimes you have good months and sometimes you have bad months, and you don't really know why. It just happens. If you're experiencing that, I would predict two things. The first is I will predict you almost certainly don't do any cold outreach at all. I pretty much can guarantee you are relying on inbound marketing. And the second thing I will guarantee with 100% accuracy, I'm sure. Now, I could be wrong for occasion on that first one, but this one I'm completely accurate on, I guarantee it. That is, you have no structured process for selling. Because if you did, you would not be having feast and famine. You might have famine, absolutely, because your sales process might be crap, but you wouldn't have feast and famine, not in a regular basis. You might have bumps, but you won't have this regular cycle of feast and famine, because you will have a measure of control over your sales process because you have one. But I guarantee if you've got feast and famine, you'll have mostly inbound marketing and no cold outreach, and you have no sales system. Possibly both of those things. We can help you both of those, funnily enough, very effectively. So you too could be having 67 to 73k weeks, just like we've had. Not bad for a middle-aged autistic hermit who was told by his school teachers he'd never amount to much because he couldn't write very well. Handwriting, that is, not the actual words. I'm very literate.
To kind of almost bring this to a close, speak about people's problems. Let people know that you can fix their problems. Call them to action. Always let them know their next step. Triage them. You don't want to be dealing with dingbats, tire kickers, and time wasters.
I love triage. Say it again.
And then sell to them. And triage. And then sell to them at a fucking premium price. And when you say them the magic solution and you give your price, just say higher numbers. It's just different words. At the end of the day, it's all just air moving, being picked up by our ears, being interpreted by the brain. It's not that important. Just say different words.
The easiest way to make money is just say different words. I mean, how fucking simple is that?
Just say a different word. Rather than saying, oh yeah, it's £1,000 a month, you say it's £5,000 a month.
What's the worst that can happen?
You say it casually. Oh, no, not to know.
And then shut up.
I think that's a nice place to leave it.
I reckon. Yeah. I mean, none of this stuff is fucking difficult, is it?
No, and it's not difficult, but there's plenty to learn, and it can feel very overwhelming, especially if you've got a sales team. You know, you've got 4 or so people in that pod. They're kind of looking at you for guidance and direction. That's the thing about salespeople. They often come across as very cocky, very arrogant. But deep inside, they're all insecure, and they're all looking towards their leader to give them some direction, give them a map, give them the route to the pot of gold. And we've got that map. Want it? It will cost you.
A lot.
Lots. Because we say different words.
And you've got to talk to me to get it.
Oh, God. Don't say that. No one will ever book a call.
Well, it's funny you should say that because...
Let's wrap it up.
In the last episode, I said about how I've been giving my number out. I've been very promiscuous with my number. I've not had a single call yet. So,
no one likes you. No, that's why. But do you know who they do like, John?
Do you know what this is?
This guy.
This is the face of
this guy.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that thumbnail, are we?
Ah, yeah.
John, how did I know?
Not too long ago. Was giving it the big one. Yeah, I did a quick summary of our top performing videos and thumbnails, and John was like, oh yeah, shock horror. I'm at the top. Less than 24 hours later. I'm at the top.
I'll see me back at the top.
50% better stats.
I'll be soon at the top.
Views and click-through rate.
Okay. So you've got, hang on, here's the thing. So you've got more views, better engagement than I have. How many sales you made, Connor?
Well, you're my salesman, so you should.
How many sales have you made, Connor?
I'm the person that, sales manager, sales director.
How many sales have you made, Connor?
Well, considering everybody that purchases has watched a video at some point, we've probably made well clear of,
many
6 figures.
Sales have you made, Connor?
What, me personally, or the company that I alone own?
Yeah, you crafty bastard. I own the well-fed business owner. So yeah, how many sales have you made, Connor, personally?
Well, the people that I manage have made plenty.
How many have you made personally, Connor?
My little hound dog that I call the EBG,
mm-hmm.
he makes plenty on my behalf.
I'm sure he does.
So
how many have you made personally, Connor?
What how many yeses have I heard on the phone?
Yeses?
No, it's not my job.
You said none. Yes, exactly. You've not made any.
It's not my job. It's not my job description.
You know what your job description is, don't you?
It's in yours.
You are the token retard in this business.
The token retard with the most clickable face and the most views inside
more like the most
company.
punchable face.
And then the thumbnail is me doing this.
And with that took me a long time with Broken Record to get you to answer it, didn't it?
Broken Record.
Broken Record.
What should people do, John? Because no one's listening now. Everybody has gone. These guys are just having a chat.
What should they do? It depends what they want. If they genuinely want help and want to talk to us, being serious now, I will pick up if you call me. Okay, but just bearing in mind, you're not going to get free advice, and our minimum program starts at 10k for the year. If that's out of the question for you, don't call me. Okay? If you get me on a call, if you do call, I won't try and sell you anything unless you ask me to. But I won't be giving you free advice either, and I'll be asking you a lot of awkward and uncomfortable questions. With that in mind, if you're still with me, it's +353 because I live in Ireland, so +353 833 943 793, and we'll put the number below. And if I don't pick up, leave a voicemail, and I will get back to you. If you don't want to do that, go to wellfedbusiness.com or email holly@wellfedbusiness.com. And then we're done.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.